Welcome to USA Auto Car Reviews. Today we are doing something a little different. Instead of a car or truck, we are stepping back into history to review the Henschel Hs 293 guided anti-ship missile. This is a story of early guided weaponry, engineering ingenuity under wartime pressure, and mixed battlefield performance that still teaches lessons about guidance, countermeasures, and the leap from unguided ordnance to precision strikes. Start with the why. The Hs 293 was born because conventional bombs and torpedoes were often ineffective or dangerous to deliver against maneuvering ships from the air. Planners wanted a way to stand off from hostile anti-aircraft fire, place a weapon onto a target with much higher accuracy than a blind drop, and do so from outside the immediate engagement zone. The Hs 293 answered that need by combining aerodynamic lift, a rocket boost for initial energy, and radio command guidance so a human operator in the launching aircraft could see the weapon and steer it onto a ship. Design and basic concept are elegant in their simplicity. The Hs 293 is a glide bomb with a small rocket motor bolted to the rear for boost. It carries folding or fixed control surfaces and a large set of wings and a tail to provide lift or instability, turning a bomb into a standoff guided missile. The operator in the mother aircraft used the transmitter to send course corrections while visually tracking the weapon through flares or a contrast paint job on its tail. That human in-the-loop approach made the weapon capable of adjusting for target movement or wind, something unguided bombs could not do. In practical terms, the Hs 293 sits in the category of early guided weapons, not an independent seeker-guided missile, but radio command weapon that relies on the operator and a simple propulsion boost. It is rocket-assisted rather than jet-powered, giving it a short period of increased speed and altitude after release, then allowing it to glide toward the target. That combination extended range compared with a free-fall bomb and allowed attacks from safer distances. From an operational standpoint, the missile offered several advantages. First, standoff delivery meant the launch aircraft could remain outside the most dangerous anti-aircraft rings and still place ordnance on moving targets. Second, the ability to steer the weapon in real time allowed compensating for target maneuvers, wind, and launch platform motion. Third, the weapon required a relatively small logistical footprint compared with building a manned torpedo bomber fleet or carrying heavy torpedoes. But there are important limitations and real-world problems. The most obvious is the reliance on visual tracking and radio control. The operator had to keep the missile in sight and maintain a stable communication link. Cloud cover, smoke, sea spray, or filling light could all degrade performance. Allied forces quickly developed countermeasures that exploited that vulnerability, jamming the radio link, deploying electronic countermeasures, and simply attacking the launch aircraft before they could complete guidance all reduced effectiveness. In many engagements the weapon scored hits, but in others it was frustrated by jamming or poor visibility. Another limitation is that the Hs 293 requires a launch aircraft to fly at a predictable release profile. Early launch tactics often demanded straight, level runs for several seconds to launch and guide the missile effectively. That predictable profile exposed the bomber to anti-aircraft fire and fighter interception. In that sense, the standoff benefit sometimes came with a tactical cost if enemy defenses were strong and well-coordinated. Concerning build and components, the Hs 293 combined conventional airframe elements with a rocket booster and radio receiver. Its airframe was derived from bomb and glider design thinking. A sturdy fuselage to hold the warhead, aerodynamic lifting surfaces to glide, and control surfaces that could receive servo inputs from the onboard control system. The rocket booster provided the initial surge of speed and altitude needed to extend standoff range. Guidance was a radio command link implemented by a transmitter in the aircraft or in the receiver in the weapon. The operator used a simple joystick to send left, right, and pitch inputs to adjust the missile's path. Performance characteristics and operational contexts placed the Hs 293 as an intermediate-range weapon. It was not a long-range cruise missile by later standards, but it allowed attacks from a distance significantly greater than conventional dive or level bombing runs of the same era. Its speed and terminal behavior meant it could strike lightly armored superstructures and cause catastrophic damage to merchant vessels and escorts. depending on where the warhead made contact. History shows mixed tactical success. The weapon was used in several theaters where Luftwaffe assets combined with naval operations. In some attacks the Hs-293 managed to sink or severely damage Allied ships, demonstrating the potential of precision-guided munitions. Those successes drew urgent attention from opposing navies and air forces, which responded with improved electronic warfare, more aggressive fighter cover, and revised damage control and convoy tactics. The result was that while the Hs-293 had dramatic moments, it never decisively changed naval warfare on its own. From a modern perspective, the Hs-293 is significant as a proof of concept. It proved that radio command guidance and rocket-assisted standoff attack could work. The concept foreshadowed post-war guided weapons and influenced both design thinking and countermeasure development. Early guided weapons like the Hs-293 forced militaries to evolve electronic warfare, radar and radio defenses, and revise tactics for protecting ships and aircraft. Maintenance and handling in the field demanded trained crews. The weapon combined explosive ordnance safety with comparatively sophisticated electronics for the time. Launch crews needed to prepare the booster, arm the warhead, and ensure the radio link and control surfaces were functional before a mission. That complexity was greater than that of iron bombs, so deployment required forward planning and specialist ground support. When assessing the Hs-293 as a product or piece of military hardware, consider these points. Strengths include the ability to strike from a safer distance than conventional bombing, the precision possible with a competent operator, and the relatively low cost compared with manned torpedoes or heavy ordnance delivered by specialized platforms. Weaknesses include heavy dependence on visual tracking and radio control, vulnerability to countermeasures and improved air defenses, and the operational risk to the launch platform during the guidance phase. Specifications and numbers are less interesting than operational experience, but it helps to grasp the category. Think of the Hs-293 as a medium-weight, rocket-boosted glide bomb carrying a significant explosive payload targeted at ships and large surface targets. Its range was sufficient to allow launch from outside immediate heavy flak concentrations in many cases, and its warhead was sized to inflict crippling damage on merchant ships and smaller escorts if a direct hit was achieved. The propulsion gave a short, high-energy boost followed by a controlled glide, and the radio link provided real-time course correction until impact. Variance and evolution matter. Designers experimented with control surface layouts, payload variants, and guidance refinements. Some variations sought longer glide ranges or greater stability, others focused on improving the control link or ease of launch. Those iterative improvements reflect the typical wartime engineering cycle of rapid prototyping, field feedback, and incremental tweaks. If we look at countermeasures and lessons learned, navies and air forces adapted rapidly. Electronics warfare became a priority. Jamming and deception could defeat radio command weapons without requiring complex physical defenses. Air cover strategies were adjusted to intercept launch aircraft before they completed guidance runs. Damage control responses on ships were improved to survive near misses and regain operational capability after attacks. Those adaptations are the historical through-line from early guided munitions to the layered defenses we see around modern naval forces. From a reviewer and historian perspective, the Hs-293 is fascinating because it marries straightforward aeronautical engineering with early electronics and human control. It shows how a clever combination of technologies can achieve new capabilities, but it also reveals the fragility of early systems when faced with countermeasures. For enthusiasts of military history or technology evolution, the Hs-293 is a milestone on the path to guided missiles, showing both the promise and the pitfalls of early precision weapons. In closing, the Henschel Hs-293 is not just an artifact of WWII, it is a chapter in the story of how weapon systems evolved from area effect explosives to the precision munitions that shape modern conflict. Its successes were notable, its failures instructive, and its legacy undeniable. If you enjoy deep dives into how technology changes warfare and how countermeasures drive innovation, the Hs-293 is a compelling case study. If you like this different kind of review from USA Auto Car Reviews and want more deep dives into historical tech and engineering stories alongside our usual vehicle content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you do not miss future videos. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.